And we're back on another episode with Mitch Carson. Mitch has done over 2,000 events over 2 decades. Mitch, welcome to the podcast.
Great to be here, Kayvon. I've looked forward to this. It's been a few months until we finally got this nailed down to get scheduled in, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, yeah, I am too. Thank you again, all the way from Thailand.
Yes, sir. All the way to Canada.
So let's dive into this, because I mean, 2,000 to produce 2,000 events is not a small feat here. So I mean, how'd you get into the business in the first place?
I have been a professional speaker for 4 decades. This is a self-admission. You know, most people lie about their age. I'll divulge mine. I'm 65. I've been at this a long time. And at some point, the natural evolution of a speaker is to then they get frustrated with their producer or agent and think, I can do better than they can. And look at all the money they're making and I'm not making. So that's what cracks the ceiling. And then you start to go out on your own. I mean, hence the entrepreneurial spirit. I then started producing my own events and I realized, oh boy, this takes a lot, because if they weren't just about me, what I mean events, I produce multi-speaker events. For example, if I were to go into the small business space and I needed a sales expert, I would bring in someone like you. If I needed a Facebook ads expert, I would bring in someone like Propeller Head Bill, and that person would cover that. Somebody else may cover organic advertising. Somebody may cover publicity. And that was what I found was the most critical. And I might have these experts in their category, but A, they may not be able to speak very well. B, they may not be marketed properly, packaged correctly. And that's what spawned what I do today, because if a speaker isn't packaged in a Tiffany box, they're going to sell less, and I might not put as many butts in seats, which is the overall goal, because then it's just math. It's really all about math.
Are you still producing speaking conferences today?
Yes, I am. I then went into, because of something called the COVID and the pandemic, had to shift and embrace the online mechanism. So I've run some online summits where I bring in speakers and there is no travel. And it's amazing how different that has. It's a lot less expensive to invest because you don't have to pay for rooms, travel, all that, moving a staff. So that part's there, but you do suffer with conversions, because when you have an in-person arrangement and you see people, the conversions are higher in a live environment. And that was evidenced by my very first live event that I produced right after the pandemic cleaned up, let's just call it, where there was some level of normalcy. In Las Vegas, February 2023, I co-produced the very first conference on ChatGPT, because that was the only game in town at that time. Now there's so many platforms. And that event was stellar. Now it was unique because we made money in the events business, in the arena that I operate in, where it's multiple speakers selling products. You typically rely on what speakers sell to get you into the black, to make you profitable, because door sales, registration sales rarely cover the upfront cost of advertising, room costs, and personnel. All of that, you're usually in the red. You don't get into the black until you start selling from the stage. So it's critical to have the right speakers that can sell, resonate with the audience, and convert predictably. And at that particular event, which was great to come out of the pandemic with, we were already in the black before the doors opened. The challenge was what we sold wasn't proven, had no testimonials, because AI was brand new. We were literally the first in the world to produce that category event. Then now there are AI events all over the place. We had copycats left and right.
So let's take a step back here. So we're in the producing the event model. And when we talk about, the vault unlocked, it's all about, what was the one thing. I mean, you produced over 2,000 events. Went through a whole COVID, the whole COVID situation there. And here we are today. So tell me, like, really, if we said, okay, what's the one thing that breaks events? What would that be?
Oh gosh, the one thing would be having the wrong speakers at the event that don't resonate with the with the audience. Is having a message to market mismatch.
Having a message to market mismatch. So having an AI event and someone's talking about poodles and whatever, like just
Poodles and personnel. Yeah,
okay. So
I mean, unless they had an
me,
AI product that fixed it.
to me, that's a no-brainer. So to me, you're saying people have ran an event about a specific topic and brought speakers that had nothing to do about the event
Because it was their buddy who wanted to get into the speaking business. So they positioned Susie, who's talking about basket weaving, because I mean, or having the wrong lineup. I mean,
outside to me, that's, I have to be honest, like, if I had a button here, the button would go off and I'd be like, that's a stupidity. And that's like, I don't think I would say that's less than 0.01% of the population. So assuming that they get the speakers right,
correct.
What is the thing that breaks the event?
Not having the correct, not selling. It's always about sale, not selling. It's not filling the event. So I would say, well, I would have to say there are two parts. I mean, they're multiple, but the one you're saying, the one thing, I think there are two things, but it's all under the umbrella, Kayvon, of selling. Without sales, there is no business.
Well, we know that, right?
Yeah,
The
I
first
mean, you
thing in
know that.
sales.
You embrace it. I embrace. I've been selling my whole life, and if you don't have the right sales selling speakers, you're in trouble. So they have to show proof that they can sell from the stage. Lots of experts in their categories. I mean, lots of people could talk about leadership. Oh my gosh, another leadership speaker. Oh, another personnel, hiring the right people. But if they don't have a product to sell and they can't sell shamelessly and with vigor, the event's going to fail. In terms of the promoter side, you have to have selling speakers.
Okay, so that's a different conversation now. So because there's selling speakers, there's corporate speakers, there's speakers who only sell. There's the pitch, monster events. So the events that you're putting on now, getting a little bit more specific, are I'm going to call it what it is. They're pitch events.
Most of the time, yes, but in order to but you have to have also, in some cases, the lead anchor. For example, a friend of mine produced an event here in Bangkok after Jordan Belfort had released that movie, the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah,
I'm sure you watched it, being a sales professional yourself.
Yes.
And Jordan was the draw. People wanted to meet the wolf, and it was right after the movie had released. He brings in he's a negative because you had to pay, I think it was about $150K for him to show up, and there's first class airfare, etc., to fly him out here. So you're already sunk. You're negative before the door opens. You do sell tickets to the Thai audience, or this is what they did. They sold tickets. He's already produced a negative output. They're bleeding before he takes the stage. And he's supposed to speak all afternoon at the event. There were the selling speakers that preceded him. And I could say who they are in a minute, but he was the anchor. Without him, there would be no attendees.
Yeah.
So you use that draw as a mechanism. So it's a hybrid. It's partial keynote. He was essentially supposed to be the keynote, and he sold the program.
Like you said, there's an anchor. So we're starting to get to what makes an event successful. I was still trying to really figure out what is that one thing that breaks the events. And obviously, the wrong speaker with the wrong audience. I think that's just stupidity that we even have to say that, to be honest with you. So
it happens all the time.
Yeah, it's just, it makes, when I hear things like that, I just have to be honest, it makes me excited of the competition that I'm against in the world.
Yes.
If that's the competition, like that makes me excited. So now we live in a world where you don't even have to be great. You just have to be good to be great. All right. I'm all over that. But then you're saying sales. So what comes first? Do you get all the speakers and rent all the stuff and get all the marketing, or do you sell first?
It's I would say a changing marketplace, and my answer has changed over the years. I mean, I have an old model. When I got into this business, it was direct mail in order to get people to register. That's how far back I go doing
Yeah.
this. And yeah, so it was direct mail. Then it's evolved, and then we used to do telesales, where we would have online pre-selling with teasers over phone calls. People would be doing this, and we're going back to the 90s when I would get on phone calls and we would pre-sell the attendees. Come, and you're going to hear Mark Victor Hansen, who was the co-author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. Mark is an old friend, and helped him with his event back in, when was this? 2002. As an example, all the speakers were required to get on the phone and call in. There was no Zoom back then, and call in, and people would be live in a phone room. They would be waiting until the telesales opened up, and we would pre-pitch what we're going to sell. So we were seeding them. Here's what I'm going to cover. Here are the 3 things I'm going to cover in my 90-minute presentation on X date at the Westin LAX, as an example. And that's where it was held, or Wyndham, I think it was. And we just discussed, without how to fix it, here's the problem. Here's what I'm going to cover as the solution. The formulas don't change. They're still the same. And we went through it. Mark was profitable because he selected selling speakers. And what built it around big names.
Okay. So we haven't got there yet. So we're going to get there.
Okay, that's fine.
Because, in order to understand what success is, we still have to understand what failure looks like.
The failure is having
the question I had was specifically if I'm going to do an event, am I going to invest all the dollars to get the hotel, get the room, get everyone organized, and then start selling, or do I pre-sell first before I go invest all those dollars?
You pre-sell as much as you can. I think I absolutely. I was the reason I paused when you said that is because there's an evolution. The model has changed, and it's gotten so fiercely. You either reinvent, or you lose money. It's fiercely competitive today. So you need to sell either premium packages. So I went to the model of, there was general admission only. Then VIP came in. Well, there was advanced seating. You get to come into the room first. You get a water bottle, and you get a black table cover, as opposed to sitting in a white. So there's true delineation of where you sit. And a lot of these tricks you had to learn and it worked in small environments, 40, 50 people, to thousands in a conference. Tony Robbins was still is one of the trailblazers in that market. He's top of the food chain and producing events.
We know that. Absolutely he is.
Yeah. And then Grant Cardone is trying to be number 2.
Well, I think he's done, actually. Grant's, I think he's done. Which we can discuss that. But so now we're talking about, so we know that in the event space, to be successful, you got to have the right speakers that resonate with the audience, and it's got to match. Sounds like you got to have the pitch people. So the speakers need to be able to offer something so you can make the money from that. And then we're talking about pre-selling. The idea is to pre-sell the seats.
You've got to sell the seats at different price points with different value associations, so you can cover your butt before the doors open. That's the key. Is how do you? The answer is yes. You must pre-sell something, and one is the seating. Number 2, it might be if you buy the program now, you can get a discount on when it comes to the event. So you've already captured money. The excitement is there. That's another option. And you do this now, and you'll save because at the event it's going to be this price. Or you leave it open, buy a premium, because they know they're going to be sold at the event. They know that. If you bring in Russell Brunson as an example, the guy who created, he's going to sell you. Whether you like it or not, your credit card better have some slippery grease on it, because it's
Yep.
coming out. It's coming out.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I've been there.
And if you want to buy Russell's program, it's going to cost this. Your investment's going to be $3,000. But if you buy now, you can save 10%. That's certainly a way to reveal the obvious and save now before you get there, and or loosen up your credit card limit because you're going to invest at this event. So that's certainly a way to pre-sell. I like that question. That's a great question. Do you pre-sell or not? Yeah, why not? Shamelessly. Because a lot of people are afraid to sell. It's like they love to present and share and educate. They don't make any money. The people with the mindset of, I'm going for the throat. I'm here to sell, and you're going to buy from me.
It's interesting you say you're going through the throat, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting you say that, because that right there gives the public speaking pitch fest the name it has, going for the throat. I actually disagree with you.
Okay.
I highly disagree with you. I don't think it's going through the throat. It's actually going for the transformation. It's going to actually serve and help people. And if you're actually believing that you're helping and serving people, in order for people to actually get the transformation they need, they got to invest. They got to invest time. They got to invest energy. They got to invest resources, and they got to invest money, because nothing comes for free. And in fact, people don't value for free. So as a speaker, my job isn't to cut the throats of my enemies, because they're not my enemies.
Not cut the throats.
Yeah.
No.
Go for the throat, whatever. Go for the throats, right?
Yeah.
I'm more like, how can I serve people at such a high level that the only solution for them is to move forward? And I just think that's a different perspective. But what I am hearing from you as an event coordinator, let's get real back on the tracks, is we got to make money. In order to 100%. Make money, in order for me to be profitable as an event coordinator, I got to have every one of my speakers making money. I mean, I know these models. I've been in these. Tony's ran those models. There was a company, I don't know what the name was. That
Success Resources.
There it is. Exactly. Success Resources.
They're the biggest in the world.
They were the biggest in the world. To me, I didn't know this was pre what I do now. Had I gone to it when I had my eyes open, it'd probably be different. But as an outsider of that world, I was disgusted. I couldn't believe how bad every hour, just a pitch. You're waiting there just to see Tony, right? So I actually don't like that model, but they make money and they work. And that's fantastic. If someone's trying to run that type of model, what's the thing that's like, you need this one thing for success? Without that, it's over.
Well, okay. It may sound harsh metaphorically to say go for the throat. The other is to expect. Well, but it's our job to sell people. And then the backup or the follow-up to that is, and this will answer your question, value associated with them investing. Sometimes people are hesitant to invest. They don't know what is there. You have to have the right speakers with integrity that deliver as they promise. So yes, the value has to match what is sold, and bringing in speakers who sell, because I can name 5 off the top of my head who sell things and then disappear. They're one-off.
I can name more than
we
that.
could have a private conversation about. I know everybody in the business has been doing this 40 years.
Absolutely,
they'll never be on my stage again.
Yeah,
never.
Absolutely. So I mean, now we're talking about the integrity of a speaker. But what I'm hearing is we're talking about how you produce 2,000 events, and you don't produce 2,000 events unless you're successful at it.
Yep.
So when we talk about producing 2,000 events, and what I'm gathering here, if people are listening, is it's pretty simple. Is step one is you need an anchor speaker. I don't know if you guys what you call them, but you need a speaker with a big name who's going to bring in people. Ideally, they have a list. Ideally, they're ready to also market to that list. Once you have that anchor speaker, you can build the event all around that speaker. Without it, you're doomed. Good luck trying to fill seats, especially in a competitive marketplace we're in.
Unless you've got a product that is so hot and trending, they'll come no matter what. And that's why I started with the example of the ChatGPT event. That was the one exception in my life that filled in 4 days. We sold out in 4 days because the topic was so hot. The speakers were irrelevant only because, Kayvon, nobody was an expert then. Maybe
Yeah.
Sam Altman, who founded ChatGPT.
Who wasn't even an expert himself. They probably didn't even know what they were doing back
Well,
then
nobody knew him. There
in
was no
terms of where this
brand.
is today.
There
Yeah.
was no Tiffany value. It hadn't been established yet. Today, there are all sorts of people jockeying for that position in the AI space. Whoever's written the most books or publications or spoken here or there, that is a different argument. But in most cases, you're correct, unless it is in such a hot topic. Oh my God, I wish I doubled the gate fee. I would have made so much more money. But hindsight's 2020. But yes, you're correct. I agree with you. It is a grind if you're bringing in the same speakers who've spoken there the month before. They've already been seen. You have to freshen the lineup too. And why I do what I do is helping people become the authorities in their fields, and that's where they get branded with all the media. Write a book. It's a formula. It's a formula. A serious speaker has a book or more.
Okay, so what's the formula? Let's talk about that. Yeah. So let's say someone has a message. They don't have the greatest audience, but they have an offer. They got a message, and they're looking for the winning formula. What's the formula that's going to get me on the right stages so that I can be seen, I can get the content, and I can start building my brand?
All right, now I can go right into my roadmap, and this is something that I've perfected over the year. It starts with creating your authority positioning. Number one, today, it's different than it would have been before, but it's evolved. But the only thing that's changed has been the mediums. So today, if you're not podcasting, you're missing out. Okay. So you got to have a podcast.
You heard that. You got to have a podcast, or you got a podcast. You got to go on podcast shows. Which one?
Both. I'm your guest. I have a show. Guess who's getting invited onto my show?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to assume me. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So authority,
reciprocity. Work with reciprocity. And a long-term, why I've been successful for 4 decades is I work off the rule of reciprocity.
Yeah.
If I put somebody on my stage, if you don't give back, you don't play correctly in the sandbox. It's just how it works in life. If you don't scratch my back after I scratch yours several times, you're a taker, not a giver. So you 100%. Hang with giver. So that's part of the potion, is if the mindset of giving, give. Why Alex Hormozy was so successful, he gave tremendous free content until he then went for the throat.
Exactly. You're right. And then he went for the throat, and he did it well. And then he did it the first time, and he didn't go for the throat. This last time, 105 million. People don't realize. They say he made $105 million in 1 hour. No, he didn't. He made $105 million in 3 years of
correct. It was a long-term play. He's the tortoise. He won the race. Yeah. The rabbits get eaten up by hawks and eagles and snack on them as they're running down the road quickly.
So let's go back here, because we have a formula. People are listening. I want them to
I'll give them the formula. Okay.
Yeah. So we have authority positioning.
Authority positioning. I would suggest what the top of the food chain is, have a top blank podcast in your space that you can brag about. Okay. With the validation of the screenshots of Apple, iTunes, or Spotify. So that's there. Have high conversion. If you can show the numbers that relate to your podcast topic. Okay. Or then and if you're just a guest, and I don't say just a guest, but it's important. I guested myself 100 times before I started my own podcast. And I still guest on occasion. I think it's important to continue to market endlessly. It's not over. Yeah. It's an endless marketing outreach. That's not sales, that's marketing. Sales happen because you're marketed well. So number 2 is have yourself in major publications and the biggest is, this is the service I provide, is guaranteeing people media placements on television networks.
Oh, wow. On television networks.
Television networks. Yes, I'm a host on NBC3 in Las Vegas. I go back and record and then return. And that is my big deliverable. I found is when they actually experience lights, camera, action in a studio environment and get interviewed, for 4 minutes on live television. This is what your parents would revere. Okay? You're on live television with the real call letters, not this fake BS of sending out a press release and think, oh, I'm covered on Canada News. No, you're not. You submitted a press release to their secretary at the front desk. That doesn't mean you were covered on the news station. But if you have the proof assets, and you have to have irrefutable proof that when someone clicks on the logo, you come up. You show your coverage on that TV show. So I guarantee 4 networks in Las Vegas, ABC, NBC, the CW, and CBS. You get covered, guaranteed.
Okay.
And I created that program for all of my speakers who then travel the world with me. I produce these events taking people around the world, 19 countries, as a matter of fact, where I would get them TV coverage in each city we went to. In Dubai, I got everybody on CNBC Arabia. I got everybody on Dubai One television. Then we got covered in the newspaper, the Khaleej Times, which is the leading newspaper in the Middle East. And then they can say they were covered on, and that builds the authority, irrefutable proof that they are, in fact, the leader in their category.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of people that talk. I'll use you as an example, Kayvon. I'm going to, if I can reciprocate, because I think you've got Teflon skin, can handle it. It's and the book. Oh my God! If you don't have a book or a series, I don't think you're serious as being a speaker. It's an essential. It's the right arrow in your quiver.
Yep.
You need to show all of these feathers. I liken it to, let's talk about a peacock. You've got a peacock. Okay. Yeah. Americans, Canadians, I'm going to throw you in the mix.
Yeah, no, I love that. No, so let's just take a step back here. We talked to take it back here, right?
Yeah.
We got authority. Authority is number one. Well, how do you create authority? We create authority by going on a podcast. We create authority by getting on publications. We create authority by creating a book.
And we create authority beyond network television and radio shows.
And networks, publications, and getting your name out there. Now, for those 100%. People that don't know how to do that, I mean, what do they do? Like, I understand this game because I've been in this game, but there's people going, okay, well, how do I even get on a podcast? How do I write a book? What do you mean write a book? Like, right? Like, oh my God. Do you help them with all this?
All of this, because it's essential. I had to out of need. Because there was a problem, I learned about creating the solution.
Yeah.
I didn't invent the wheels. You know, you just have to follow.
Now let me say this, because I got a podcast.
Right.
Let's use me just as an example.
Fine.
I got a podcast. I have my book. I'm on publications. I have been on, some news stations, and I have my publications, CEO Weekly and Huffington Post, and I have my, press releases, let's call, if you want to call those there.
Sure.
And I go on podcasts, right?
Okay.
No one's calling me to speak on stages.
All right.
So how do I convert all of that to actually get on stages now?
You've got the essentials right now. Do you have a speaker reel? Now we're getting into the meat.
Love it. Got the speaker reel, got the speaker website, got me showing as a keynote speaker.
Keynote.
I'm not just a speaker. I'm a keynote speaker, baby. Come on.
All right. You're in the category of sales. Do you have numbers? If I were to approach Richard Tan, who's the owner of Success Resources, as an example, he's in Singapore. He's not, a 2-hour flight for me. And Richard, Douglas Chu is the one that finds, who's his brother-in-law. He came to me when I spoke in Japan. He saw me close the room, 6,000 people. And do you have proof of the back of the room rush? Because that is you've got to have the right feathers. You've got all the feathers, it sounds like. You're already branded smartly, Kayvon.
Well, I'm just wondering, is proof of the rush, would that be back in 2018 when we ran a conference, and in 1 hour we had only 500 people in the room, and before the pitch happened we had $8 million of credit cards because we sold? Is that proof enough for you?
That's huge proof. Huge proof.
I love it.
And
This isn't about me. This isn't about me. We could talk about
no,
this
it
later.
is about you
This is
because
about the audience.
we're always the first radio station call letters is WIIFM. What's in it for me? And you absolutely are part of this. And if you ask me the hard question, you've ticked the right boxes. You've got the feathers in place. And if you wanted to get on other people's stages, all you have to do is shake them. And the key is, okay, he's got a book, he's branded, and is the guy going to embarrass me and hurt my reputation is issue number one from the person that reviews the potential speakers. If you don't come by referral,
I'm going to break. We're going to decode. This is decoding. This is all about decoding here. And I'm calling BS on that one just because there's actually a step before that. Because you just assumed is this guy going to embarrass me? Can I trust he's going to show up? Which is all great. I want to be very clear. 100% that goes through. Mm-hmm. How do you even know I'm the guy?
Because I've referred you. All of my gigs. Now, when I refer to 2,000 events, I've produced and I've been invited to. I've either spoken or referred. It's all by referral.
But for those that don't know you, right, and you're not going to be referring them, where's the gap, the chasm from they got all the right assets, they got the book, they got the publications, they got their podcast, but the gap between that and actually getting on the stages, and when they get the chance to get on that stage, that's up to them. You get one chance to get the next stage.
Correct.
One. You don't get two, you don't get three, you get one. You blow it, it's over.
Well, I'll answer that question. How do they
get that chance? How do you get that chance?
I've produced events all over. Most of the time, the speakers that I have placed, I'd say 80% of the time, have come from referrals of other speakers who say, Kayvon's great. I need a selling speaker for my event in Singapore. The last event I produced, here was the example. And I like to use examples because it explains better. I had an event with 600 people, paid, ready. I had VIP and then I had general admission in Singapore at the convention center. And it was all about social media. I had my keynote guy because he was a TV show host on CNN in the Philippines, came in. He talked about YouTube because at that time he had a following of about 500,000 subs on YouTube. His name is Chinky Tan. So these are real people. People can read. Today he's got about 3 million. So this was right before the lockdown. So this was February of 2020, right before the world shut down. So this was my last event. It was profitable almost profitable before the doors opened, almost. And then I knew what I would be able to sell. I had a Facebook ads person. I was the MC/closer at the end who sold everybody's product as a mother of all offers. And each speaker was perfectly positioned based on what the audience wanted to hear about. So I polled the audience, what would you like to hear? And then I placed the speakers. One of the speakers earned a late spot. I had two people. One was Facebook advertising and one was Facebook organic. Without splitting hairs, it was the same platform, but I had two speakers because the Facebook advertising guy I wasn't going to have him. His name is Alaric. Alaric,
yeah. I know Alaric.
In Singapore?
Oh, in Singapore. No. Okay.
No, not Alaric Heck, not the YouTube guy.
Okay.
Totally different. No, that's another discussion. I know about him. I've seen him speak. No, Alaric Ung is 40 times the speaker that Alaric Heck is.
Yeah.
400 times better.
Yeah.
And you can't understand a word he says because he speaks English so fast. He's only appropriate in that market because nobody would understand him in North America because there's so much accent with the Singaporean English. However, I saw how well he sold. I sold on his stages in Kuala Lumpur and Johor Bahru in Malaysia. I saw the guy close the room better than me. Now, he had the right product for the audience. My product was not exactly the best fit for that audience of attendees. He did very, very well, and he was the event host, so he was what drew them in. I said, what are you doing on February 18th when you go back to Singapore? I said, I have my speaker lineup is full. I'm going to cut back time on the other speakers because they all had 90 minutes. I'm going to put them in an hour. I need a space for you because you will sell into this audience. I'm going to split the category. My co-producer, her name is Surya Sparks, who was the big social media expert in Singapore. You wouldn't know her, but in that area, she was great. She shared the stage with Mark Zuckerberg in the past. Very big speaker. She was my co-producer. I said, I want to have you talk about ads. I'll convince her to split the category because she was all about Facebook.
Yeah.
And he added the value. He sold very well to the audience because he resonated. It was message to market match. It was clear. And he was a fellow Singaporean. So I brought in also all the speakers were Asian except me. So I wanted to bring in people that they could relate to.
Yeah.
And that's an important, I mean, you can say there's the one thing, it's the right message to right market. You can't bring in somebody who will not resonate with the audience.
Absolutely.
So I could not bring this man who sells very well in that part of the world. He wouldn't work in America or in Canada for that matter, because you wouldn't understand him. So fast. And I don't know if you've been to Singapore. Have you been? Okay.
No, I'm not.
Good luck understanding them. It took me 6 months to get my ear tuned to what they were actually saying. I didn't even know it was English. And that's an example of you gotta, So I had a selling speaker. He didn't have a book. Until I told him he needed one, and he wrote a book. And he wrote a book between that time and just so he could show it on the screen. It wasn't even published. You get the
no, I get it.
Yeah.
I love it. So we are coming to an end here. Where can people find you?
GetInterviewedGuaranteed.com. GetInterviewedGuaranteed.com. That's where you
GetInterviewedGuaranteed.com. Mitch, it was great to have you on the show. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.